Good afternoon, Chair Stevens.
Hi, Darius. How's it going?
It is going well.
Good. Do we have a quorum yet? Maybe not quite yet, huh?
Not quite yet. We need
Okay.
one. We do now.
We do now. Okay.
Yep. Yep, we do now.
We do now. Excellent. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone. And this is, I call the Non-Attainment Area Air Pollution Mitigation Enterprise Board of Directors meeting to order. And can we do a roll call, please?
Yes, Director Stockinger,
Here.
Director Furco,
Yeah.
Director Holguin,
Yeah.
Director Wheeler, Director Suniga, excused. She had sent a message to us earlier.
Okay.
Vice Chair Baca and Chair Stevens.
Here.
We do have a quorum for out of the 7 members.
Wonderful. Thank you, Darius. Appreciate that. All right, we'll move on to our next agenda item. And maybe you can pull that agenda up for me because I'm looking for it. Oh, we have public comment. Is there anyone here to give public comment? I don't, so I don't hear anybody speaking up. Darius, you didn't know about anyone who wanted to give public comment, did you?
No, nobody had requested public comment for this meeting, Chair.
Okay. Sounds good. Then we will move on to our next agenda item, which is approval of the enterprise annual report. And Darius, you'll walk us through the report.
So thank you, Chair. So one of the last major decision items is the approval of the annual report for the enterprise. This is required under the authorization statute for the enterprise 43-3-1303. The report goes through a summary of the events, goes through the background of the enterprise, the meetings that were held by the board of directors throughout the year, and does a brief overview of the enterprise's budget and financial status with a brief statement on the upcoming activities. One of the major changes in this year's report from previously is we are able to happily say the CTAP grants were awarded, and those are continuing to be worked through. And we list all of those grantees who received funds, the $17.3 million, which includes funds all the way up to, believe, towards the end of fiscal year 24. So all of the money that was collected up until that time. And that is included into the report. I think that is the major change. And if the board approves this report today, then that will give staff the authorization to submit it to the Colorado Transportation Commission as required in statute. And of course, the transportation committees of reference in the General Assembly, both on the House and Senate side. With that stated, the report, I believe, is in your packet starting on page 9. It is about 6 pages long, but happy to answer any questions or if there's any suggested changes in the report before we finalize. Otherwise, asking for a motion to approve.
Thank you, Darius. Any questions or comments on the report? Seeing any. Um, Director Furco, please go ahead.
Yeah, the only question I have is maybe a more of a formatting thing. But table 2 on page 8 of the report, it looks like part of it got cut off. And I think I just want to confirm that no information got cut off, perhaps just a border of that table.
I think
Read
that
is that's what the case is, but
I think that's the border for that table, but yes, that is a good formatting catch. Before we finalize the report, we want to correct it so it looks somewhat better.
thank you. I just want to make sure nothing that of substance
Yeah,
was lost. Thanks.
thanks, Director Furco. Good catch. Director Holguin.
Thank you. Thank you all for the work on this report. It's really helpful. I loved how simple, how easy to read it is. So definitely appreciate that. Very much like Director Furco, if we can adjust that. And then the previous one as well, the table one, I don't know if it would be at all possible to make the rows a little bit smaller to make the total expenditures be right below the total revenues as opposed to the next page. I think it just makes it a little bit easier. But other than that, thank you all so much for your work on this.
Absolutely, Director Holguin, happy to make that change and agreed.
Thank you. Director Furco, did you have another?
Yeah, sorry, me again.
No, it's okay.
This one's just a compliment. I do appreciate the inclusion of the community impact section and then kind of the positive responses we got from communities and them speaking to how these programs are going to benefit them. I think that's really valuable for including in this report and not something I've frequently seen. So just really wanted to call that out specifically and compliment it. I think that's a great addition.
Thank you, Director Furco. I think I forgot to mention that in there, but yeah, we wanted to make sure that that was included as part of the report. But appreciate the kind words and all the staff that worked on the report and compiling that together.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any comments or questions on the report? See any hands raised? Well, Darius, thank you. Yeah, I think the report is very easy to read. It's really nice for us to have those accomplishments about those grants that we got out. So that's fun to be able to be able to pass that on to the legislators. And I do agree with Director Furco that the quotes on how the project dollars will help people in their communities. I think that that's a great addition to the report. We always say, everybody wants the numbers, but the storytelling is what really sometimes moves people and really shows the impact even more than just the numbers. So I think that that is definitely a good addition. So I thank you for preparing that, and I would entertain a motion to approve this annual report.
So moved.
Okay, by Director Holguin. Is there a second?
Again,
Okay,
Go ahead,
second
Jessica.
by Director Furco. All right, so there's a motion and second. Any further discussion on this item? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 okay.
All right, that motion passes. So we'll move on to our next agenda item, and that is the program and budget updates. And Darius, you're up again.
Thank you, Chair. And for the record, Vice Chair Baca and Director Wheeler are on the meeting as well. So I wanted to note that for the attendance record.
Well, thank you. Well, welcome to both of you.
For the enterprise budget updates, our usual report, which I believe is on page 20 of your packet, has a little bit of a clearer view of that, goes through the amount that has been collected in addition to the allocations and the actual spending that has happened. So I think the main duty for staff right now is getting out the intergovernmental agreements and doing all the administrative work to work through with all of the grantees and local agencies, and then we should start seeing the spend down of the 17.3 million for that. But you can see where some of the other funds are allocated to the other three program line items as well. For the administrative costs, we haven't spent any of the other administrative costs other than staff salaries. As you can see here, we only have numbers through the very beginning of Q2, which is October 2025, which is the latest we have available. But those are in there. But those are the main costs that have occurred to the enterprise from the administrative standpoint. And then, of course, the last line item, the contingency reserve, there has been no request to reserve contingency reserve to the board of directors. So that still sits at 200,000 for the year. I think that's about it. I think for the updates at this time, we do have on slide 11, the wrap up and next steps, a basic calendar for the next 3 months to kind of go over. Thank you. I appreciate that. If we could go to that slide, that would be helpful. To go over some of the items that are going to be coming forward that are in we believe will workshop with the board, which includes finalizing the FY27 budget. We do want to have that, anticipate that finalizing that at the February 26th meeting. We do want to make sure that we have the board meeting and agenda review schedule done. The fee adjustment review, which is due on March 15th every single year to the Department of Revenue, with the anticipated adjustment to the fee levels for the retail delivery fee and the shared ride fee. So those are done on there. So those have to be done by the February 26th meeting, but we could do those at the January meeting, and we'll work that. We can work out a schedule with you, Chair and Vice Chair Baca, for these anticipated next 3 meetings to start up the next calendar year, which will be the fourth Thursday in the month. And then, of course, one of the items that we like to periodically update is the revenue forecast in the 10-year plan with new and updated revenues. And once we do that, bring it to the board for review and then readopt the 10-year plan and repost it. So that's in addition to what I mentioned, most of the work from the staff perspective is executing the grant program and getting those grant outs to the local entities, and we'll continue to update the board on that progress. I think we're getting close to having some of those signed as we work through some of the logistics with it, but we're hoping that that will be done within the next couple of months, and the entities are able to utilize the funds, and we can move on to the large infrastructure program in the next calendar year. So with that, happy to answer any questions from members of the board for my update this month.
Any questions or comments for Darius? Darius, I have a question. So
Yes.
with the upcoming meeting topics, and since we're still kind of getting some of those grant dollars out the door for those smaller grants, when do you anticipate that we'll start talking about that larger grant process?
I think that's probably an item that we would probably want to bring forward, probably no later than March, but I think from a staff perspective, February seems to be the appropriate time frame. If we are able to bring forward some items for board discussion in January, we would like to do that, but I don't want to overpromise on that particular piece. So I think no later than March would be the most conservative answer to your question.
And then thinking about, funding bus rapid transit, which is something we've talked about with the larger grants. I'm wondering if there's like an opportunity before we sort of get into that grant process. I don't know how much people are familiar with bus rapid transit, and we've obviously had presentations and stuff. I mean, it might be fun to do like a little field trip if people are kind of up for that of kind of seeing, and we have it in Fort Collins. I'm not saying everybody has to come to Fort Collins. Maybe there's other examples in the metro area, but I think that it would sort of be valuable to see it in person before we start thinking about whether to fund something like that and what bus rapid transit means. And I think there's other names for it. Sometimes premium transit is used, and so I don't know how feasible that is, but I thought that that might be a way for people to sort of experience it before they're sort of looking at grants that are proposing this and not really having had that experience. So, and it doesn't have to be on a meeting date. It could be maybe a separate date that works for folks. We could do a doodle poll or something like that. I don't know how folks feel about that, but I just think it's nice to know kind of what type of projects we'd be looking for and what that means for kind of the traveling public.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Director Wheeler.
I'm just co-signing what you said. I think it's a great idea. And so just we'll look for that doodle poll. I prefer more moderate weather. Should we have to leave the metro? And so
Sure.
that's
That
maybe just
is
my opinion,
understood.
but with that, I'll take my seat.
Perfect. Thank you, Director Wheeler. Yeah, I think more moderate weather, so maybe something in the spring or something like that might be good. But yeah, so well, good. I'm glad that there may be some interest in doing that.
Staff is happy to help facilitate that, Chair. I think the option of Fort Collins is probably the prime example in nearby. Um, the other example I can think of right now is, of course, what's going on in the Denver area, but those aren't operating right now, and those may be either under construction or in the planning phase. So, but we're happy to bring forward some suggestions if the board would like to do that.
Yeah, and we could do some, we could have our county, if people want to come up, we'd feed you some lunch or something. So, we could make a day of it. Director Stockinger?
Yeah, I certainly would be up for it too. I think it would be helpful to maybe do a piece of both things. I think in Colorado, probably bus rapid transit, it's Fort Collins is the example that we can use. But I think a couple of the projects down here that we want to get going on, and I think we're hoping to have support from the non-attainment board. It's like Federal and Colorado Boulevard, and maybe we can have project teams take us on one of those corridors and show what it looks like now, and then what it would be anticipated to look like should we build it. So you can see a finished product, and then you can see something that we're going to be proposing and that we're working on now. Just we don't have construction yet.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That would be good. Sort of a before and after, or after and before. I don't know. Perfect. Well, yeah, let's kind of think on that and maybe look at something for the springtime.
Yep.
Perfect. And then do we need to adopt or do we need to approve some minutes?
We do, Chair. We need to
Yeah.
approve minutes from June 26th, which was the last. We didn't approve it at the last meeting because of the quorum issues, and the budget took precedence. So we have that available, plus the meeting minutes from last month.
Okay, perfect. Can we get a motion to approve those two sets of minutes?
Motion Baca.
Okay. Thank you. Vice Chair Baca is the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Right, Director Stockinger, second. All right. Any further discussion on these? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Hey,
I think
That
you've got
motion-
one abstention. I'm looking at my calendar. I feel like I missed both of those meetings.
So passes with one abstention.
Please, thanks.
Thank you, Director Wheeler.
For sure.
All right. Darius, I think that's all our business except for moving into annual training. Is that right?
Correct. And we do have, we're going to turn it over to Justin Curry from the Colorado Attorney General's office, but we do have a procedure for that. So we're going to close out this particular instance of the meeting. And on your calendars, there should be and help me, Garrett, a little bit, another Zoom link. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
So we will rejoin on that additional Zoom link, and we'll close out YouTube and this instance of the meeting, and Mr. Curry will do our annual meeting training.
Okay. And do we need a motion? Is it considered an executive session, the training, or we don't need a motion? It's just a training that's only open to board members.
Just training.
Okay, perfect. All right. Then is there any other business to come before the board? Is there anything? Then we will adjourn this meeting and go find that link and join us at the next meeting.